this fun stuff.
Oh, yes. OMG, good morning. Oh my, are you guys as crazy as we are? Because we are up early, ready to catch the first bird. Oh my God, I'm so excited right now. Guys, I have supermodel here, cover girl model. Oh my God, and just top earner in network marketing, Miss Renee Jeffers right now. I'm so excited. And of course, she is a mom also of three beautiful angels. And she is also a woman's transformational life coach. So, we're going to get some amazing gems from her today. Welcome, 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 everybody. I totally didn't even cue the music because I'm just so like, I feel like we're already dancing. We're having like fun already. So, yes, OMG. So, Renee, welcome to
Good
Confidence.
morning. Good morning, Trisha. So good to be here. And I love that you said we feel like we're already dancing because Trisha and we've danced together before. We have had fun, right? Just a few weeks ago, we had so much fun dancing.
Oh, yes. The
More to
first
come, more to come.
Yes, the first time we met, it was like we knew each other from like back in the day, and it was just a win-win situation. And that one was just out of the stars. It was just like
Yeah.
God just made that happen like so amazingly. So of course, for hi Raji. Hey.
Here.
Thank
Hi,
you for joining, Raji. I know it's early. Thank you, thank you. Oh my God, Raji is another actually amazing woman too. We got to get her on here too. So super inspirational. Thanks for joining, Raji. So as a model, still a model and of course entrepreneur. My first question to you is tell us a little bit about your model journey. I know you said you started modeling when you were 12 years old.
Yes, 12 years old. I was a baby. I was actually the very tomboy younger sister that just demanded that I go to modeling school with my 15-year-old sister that wanted to go, right? So she wanted to go to modeling school. We were growing up in Bellevue, Nebraska, and there was a 1-year modeling school program. And I remember my parents saying to me, because I was like, I was like the chubby little tomboy kid that loved to play soccer and run around with all the boys. And I remember my mom and dad being like, okay, you can go too, but it's just for like you to learn some like lady skills and like some, how to like hold yourself as a woman and that kind of thing. I mean, it was very, very, they were kind of preparing me that it wasn't really to like have a modeling career. Well, that year I grew several inches. I lost some of my weight because back then, obviously back in the 80s, oh my God, it was so about the, stick thin models, right? So went to the modeling school, started getting local jobs, had the graduation for Nancy Bounds, and that's where I met a scout from Elite in New York. And that summer, I went out, my mom and I went out to New York City for 3 weeks, and Elite just, scooped me up. I had some of my first jobs that summer. I actually had my first spread in Young Miss, which I don't even know if Young Miss is still around, but started, I think that year of school, missed like 40 days of school. I got signed for CoverGirl Cosmetics at 15. So I was the youngest face of CoverGirl Cosmetics ever to sign a contract with them. Yep. Worked with them for 4 years. Loved so much of it. And it was also, this was the late 80s, early 90s. My mom, bless her, she would go, every summer we would go and we would sublet an apartment in New York City and leave our life here in Nebraska and like go, do the New York City life. And my mom, I had so many amazing moments. I mean, it was such a grand adventure, right? Such a grand adventure. Had, a lot of success early on, had a lot of fun, found my bigger love of travel and international travel through modeling. And then, there was also the flip side of the challenges of the business. And, back then it was all about drugs and like, partying. And I mean, I remember the, owners of the agencies, taking all of us young girls out and like, it was the party scene. I mean, thank God it's cleaned up, right? My daughter's the model these days. She started when she was 14 too. And thank God it's cleaned up, because otherwise I'd be,
Yeah.
worried about her every day. But it was amazing. There were so many great aspects to it. There was the fun, there was the empowerment, there was the, oh my God, earning, incredible money early on. There was, the adventure of it, the experience of coming from a small, kind of hometowny place in the Midwest and going to New York City, and all the different cultures and all the different people, and sitting on the subway and hearing 4 or 5 different languages. Like, it was just an incredible expansion of, my experience of being human. I've definitely found my love of being on camera, that playfulness, that ability to like transmit, and like convey emotion through film, through camera. I was deathly shy of speaking on camera, I have to say. So anytime I would have to go and like do auditions for like commercials or speaking parts for things, I was like, I was deathly afraid of it. It took me a long time to get comfortable with that stuff, but loved a lot of that time. And then there was also, there was the challenges, right? There was some inappropriate behavior on the part of men in that industry back then that sadly I, had experiences with. There was also a lot of, like I just love these days how there's such a broader variety of sizes and ethnicities and all of that, right? Whereas when I was, oh my God, back in the 90s, it was like heroin chick. I mean, the models were as thin as they could be, and like I was never thin enough. And so the eating disorders kicked in, and the challenges around that, and like the body, I guess it's dysmorphia. Is that what the word is? Whatever the word is, but where you don't see yourself as you are. It's all distorted, and you get this like intense obsession with weight and appearance and all of that kind of stuff. So for me, the modeling world had both, right? It had this incredible, amazing aspects. It showed me how to be an entrepreneur. It laid the foundation of, I like my freedom. I like to be in control of my schedule. I like to have a lot of days off. I like to be paid well, right? It was an interesting thing for me to go, so young into an industry where it was like 1,000 a day. I mean, CoverGirl, I was getting paid, 10,000 and upward a day to work with them, right? So to get paid so much money for your time early on, it laid the foundation of, I don't think I could ever work for minimum wage, or like, it just laid this foundation of which had, both positive and, maybe not so positive things, right? Like maybe like as a kid, it's a good thing to learn how to like work a regular job and earn minimum wage and that kind of stuff, right? But it also like, very early on had me, claim financial abundance as something that I wanted and something that I would work for. And, so it was, it was great. I mean, I lived in Europe for periods of time. I got to experience other cultures, had great friends in the industry. And I've kind of had this like back and forth, in and out of the industry ever since. Right. So I kind of left the industry at 20, well, fully at 26, but moved away from New York City at 22.
So you retired pretty much.
I didn't retire. I mean, I wish I could say that I retired with like all my millions, but no, I didn't.
Because you're still a model. You still model.
Yeah. I still, yep. And I moved, actually, I got very, very interested in alternative health and healing because I was having a lot of health challenges, the lifestyle that created of, eating disorders and drugs and alcohol. I was a raging alcoholic until I turned 20, which is when I got sober, and I've been sober ever since.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you. But that, it kind of took a toll, right? So I moved to Colorado and studied Western herbalism and got really interested in alternative healing and natural health, and that kind of catapulted me into like the next phase of my life, which was spirituality and healing and natural living and all that good stuff. So
yeah, wow, what a journey, Renee. I mean, starting from 12 and going through the whole, I always say, the things that we go through good and bad are meant for our testimony, and it's to help and uplift others, right? And your story is just phenomenal. What I want to kind of dive into a little bit right now, because we're talking about how to make seven figures
Yes.
traditionally, right? And a lot of people, especially now with the 2 past years that we've had and things are moving, I feel like the universe and God is like shaking up everything and shaking up everybody. What can you tell us, like how you made your transition, but give us a little more insight on like how you transition into making money with it. You find your true love and your purpose now,
Yeah.
getting into the transformational coaching and wellness and all of that. So how did you turn that passion into making a living? Yeah.
Great. Yeah, yeah. Well, it actually took me a little while to find the how, or to find the different paths of actually being successful with it. Hi Rebecca. Hi, sweetheart. Oh, I like how it like pops up when people are in there. Hi, sweetheart. It took me a little while. I actually, kind of semi-retired into like becoming a mom and living a more simple life for quite a few years.
Mhm.
Then I was doing my passion of coaching and spiritual work for many years, but and enough to really provide for me and the family and live comfortably, but not necessarily seven figures, right? And then I actually got introduced like 7 years ago, something like that, 7, 8 years ago, to a company in network marketing that I was really fascinated with. It was hemp. It was when CBD was becoming legal in all 50 states. And so, one of those things about wealth creation, right? It's like if you can find a trend and ride it, right? Then, you can find a way to participate in it. Now, I had lived in Oregon for like a long time. And most of my people that I knew were participating in cannabis. They were growers. They were, back in the days when it was even black market, right? But then we were one of the first states that it went legal. But that wasn't for me. It wasn't aligned. Like I wasn't a smoker. I wasn't, right. I didn't really want to participate in something that was a little more, black markety. um, and so when hemp became legal, I saw it as this incredible opportunity to position myself and actually capitalize on that tidal wave of growth, right? That trend. And I'm an herbalist, so I'm a big believer in the healing power of plants. So I joined with that company, very ground floor, pre-launch, and just just took off and quickly grew an amazing organization of just rock star women, mostly, honestly. It was mostly women on my team. They were healers, they were doctors, they were life coaches, they were entrepreneurs. And we had so much fun creating this incredible culture and community of fun and natural healing and all that kind of stuff, right? So that's really like I really like figured it out then, right? And became a seven-figure earner with that company and had a lot of fun, learned about the incredible gift of passive residual income, which I had to some degree in modeling, right? Like sometimes in modeling, you'll get that passive residual income from usage, right? Like I had TV commercials when I was younger where they would like buy more usage, or like a couple years ago, I did, my daughter and I did the Aveda Mother's Day campaign, and they just surprised us with more usage this year. And I was like, awesome, like a surprise check. We like that, right?
Well, Renee, I want to give like a bonus because I do model coaching. A lot of people who follow me on these platforms, they're models, up and coming models, seasoned models, but a lot of them really, they still need to understand the business of modeling. And you're a seven-figure earner, and all the terminology. I teach this in my program, but can you give them like just a bonus on usage, like what it is?
Yeah, well, so like the example of the Veda campaign, right? So my daughter and I did the photo shoot, and that came, like our contract for that came with a certain amount of time that the company was paying for the usage. And then that time runs out, but if the company wants to buy more usage, then they can. And so just this last spring, we're like, hey, Aveda, the agency was like, hey, Aveda wants to buy out more usage. They want to use the images and the pictures from the campaign for another year. We're like, awesome, sounds great. Don't have to do any more work, right? They just signed an additional contract and cha-ching, we get more money. I love that. So modeling really was where I learned about more of that, right? That passive residual income, do the work once and hopefully you get paid for it over and over again. I had commercials that did that as well. A lot of actors, musicians, right? They're familiar with that usage and that residual.
Yeah. So do you have to know, okay, so I'm a model that doesn't know anything, or a model mom who doesn't know anything about this. When you're at your agent, do you say, okay, is this a whole buyout, or will this come with usage? Like, how do you kind of let your agent know that, listen, I know what's up, like, because there's so much.
You could just ask those questions, just like, hey, I'm wondering what the usage is, what's the restrictions. You also want to know if you're signing, like, so my CoverGirl contract, right? That was exclusive, meaning I could not work for other cosmetic companies, right? Like that was part of the deal. That was part of why they paid me well, right? Which I gotta say, actually, because I was 15 and I was like a no name, like nobody knew anything of, most cosmetic companies, they're like signing like, very successful top of their game models, because I was a kind of a no name at that point. They got me really cheap. But for me as a 15-year-old from Nebraska, I was like, look at all
this. So your contract was what, $10,000 a day?
My first year, I believe it was 50,000, and then it went up incrementally. The last year of my contract with them was 175,000 for the year, for 10 days of work. So it was nice. It was a godsend, because I started working so young, and I had roommates, I had friends that I made in the industry that were, 15, 16-year-olds that literally were living on their own, like no parents, no chaperones. Ooh. A lot of them from foreign countries, right? From Canada, from Russia, from South America, and nobody protecting them, nobody looking out for them. It was one of the darker aspects of the industry, right? There was a lot of, not so great stuff that happened. And, when a young woman is trying to survive, right? When they're trying to feed themselves or pay their rent or have a safe place to live, sadly, you can start to compromise your values and things. I had this incredible cushion, right? I had this contract that like I could just work 10 days a year and do nothing else.
And you still have your money.
I was fine. I had food on my table. I mean, for an example, I lived in Paris, France for 4 months. That's where I got sober. That's where I had my coming to God total moment of like,
in Paris, ooh la la, all the places, really.
In Paris on my 20th birthday. Yep, my 20th birthday. I had my 2 American roommates, and my sister was visiting to celebrate my birthday with us, or with me, and we all went out to eat. I got crazy drunk because I was a drunk. I was, I was the kind that couldn't stop drinking until I was, in bad situations or somebody took it away from me. I mean, I was a pretty severe alcoholic. And part of that was just an emotional thing, right? Like part of that was like a lot of the stuff that was going on for me in modeling, and I was having the eating disorders, and then the identity issues come in, and I had started so young that it was like modeling.
How do you know who you are at? Because I entered Miss Jamaica when I was 13. Yeah. And that's when I got fat shamed. And I almost killed myself because I starved myself for like a couple of weeks. I was only having, water and fruits, and my menses stopped. I fainted out.
Wow. So you were like really starving yourself.
Yeah, because the way how I was fat shamed, 13 years old, these people, the judges of the contest, they're like, oh my God, yeah, you're great. Your face is beautiful. You're intelligent, but can you lose your belly and your thighs? You're telling a 13-year-old that, and that's the only thing is to go starve yourself. And I kept it to myself. I didn't say anything to anyone. and I just felt like I was not enough, pretty enough. And then it deals with your mental too, because it's like, oh, if you're
Yep.
not pretty enough, you're probably not intelligent enough. Nobody's gonna want
Yep.
to listen to you. Like,
Yep.
who the hell you think you are? So you get into this whole fog of, I'm just not enough. Like
Yeah.
nobody's gonna wanna hear me, feel me, or none of that.
Yep.
Yeah. So that is just so awesome about, that money piece. And then you transition into the first company, and of course I'm super excited because you are one of the top earners too in Dream Travels, of course, because a lot of people want to travel, they want adventure, they want shopping, they want the yummy food, they want to feel amazing and still make money. And now with what's going on, you could be a nomad. I have so many friends who are nomads now. They're traveling all over the world. They have their own business. How do they do this on traditionally? Like, any
Yeah.
advice?
Yeah, I think more than ever in history, we have the opportunity to really design and create and craft a life that we love and a life that we want, right? So we can have the freedom, we can have the sovereignty, we can cultivate the skills. I mean, we're so lucky with the internet, right? And with being able to take your phone with you wherever you go, and you can build a multi-million-dollar business from your phone if you know how to do it. And so nowadays it's really just about like finding what you're passionate, finding what lights you up. I always talk about like being on brand, right? Like don't try and do something that isn't a passion for you. Like I think as women especially, like it's really time for us to just claim fully that we can create a life that is aligned with our dreams, where we get to shine as who we are, where we get to actually like pour ourselves into something that we're really passionate about, and like figure out how to make money with it, right? And like be in that like receptive, like yeah, exactly, like just
You
be
just feel
in that
good when you're doing
vibration.
it, like when you're in alignment with what you love and your purpose, and you're like, money is coming in with ease.
Yeah. Yep.
And
Yep.
not
Yep.
forceful, as you're saying, like, you're out of alignment, right? Because dream trips, like, it's totally within alignment with me because I travel. I love social
Yep.
media. I love to share with, my lovely friends on social media
Yeah.
what's going on in the world, and to go for your dreams. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. And I think what's beautiful about here's what, so I've kind of done it all, right? Like I have my coaching practice, and I've had my own entrepreneurial path with that. I've owned and opened a brick and mortar business. I owned and opened a healing arts center in Ashland, Oregon. I did the modeling, right? Like I've done kind of all different kinds of entrepreneurial paths, and they all have the things that are great about them and the things that maybe are not so great about them. But here's what I love about network marketing. If you find a company that you align with, and for me, the travel and being a travel ambassador and helping show people that they can live out their dream life, especially after these last 2 years, right? Especially after these last 2 years. Everybody wants the freedom. Everybody knows that they can work remotely. People want to live out their dream list now instead of someday in our life away, because we've all had loss. We've all had death. We've been touched by the fragility of life. And so it's like, well, I don't know if I'm guaranteed to live till I'm 70. So like, why would I want to slave away at a job that I don't like, to then someday when my knees hurt and I can't barely sit on an airplane anymore, that's when I think I'm going to travel and see the world? No, like people want to do it now, right? Like you can see like travel is on the greatest rebound we'll ever see in our lifetime, and people are out and the airports are packed and everybody's on social media. It's so fun. Like I just love cheering everybody on, like, oh my god, you're in Paris, oh my god, you're in the Maldives, oh my god, right? Like it's like everybody's like doing their bucket list now. And so I think that to me it's like the most dreamy, amazing thing, because it's something that I'm passionate about too, just like you, Trisha, right? Like I got to experience my love of travel as a child when my parents had timeshares. And twice a
Oh,
year we would go, and we'd go somewhere in the US. We'd get in the car, a lot of times taking our cats with us, even like we'd go to the different like resorts and timeshares around the country. And then when I started modeling, right, 14 years old, I will always remember my first airplane trip into New York City and looking out the window. We were coming in right at sunset over New York City. I mean, imagine a 14-year-old child, from Nebraska, right? Like
wow.
flying into New York City at sunset. I will always remember just the
Mm,
excitement and the oh my godness of like, what? Like I didn't even know there was cities like this in the world, right? So
wow.
that the love of travel was really like part of my life. And then modeling, of course, it's one of the biggest benefits about travel is, I mean, about modeling is the traveling, right? Like getting to go on location shoots, getting to travel. You can go and travel, you can go and model in all these different locations around the world, right? So
Yes.
when I found out about travel meets network marketing, I was like, what? I didn't even know it was a thing. Like, I don't have to represent like a lipstick, or I don't have to represent supplements. I don't have to educate people on it because travel is a universal language. And so
Yes.
I was just like jumped all in. And it's a similar situation where it's like ground floor, early in, like hardly anybody knows about us yet. And it's right when travel is just becoming this,
Right.
incredibly, everybody's, they don't care if they're, pulling their pennies together to do it. Like nobody's given up on travel right now. Everybody's ready to do it more than ever. And we have the opportunity to show people how they can travel and make a living doing it. Right. So, and especially like
That's
for your
super exciting.
audience.
That's super exciting to itself. Just knowing that you can travel and actually make money, like
Yeah.
get paid to travel, really, that's what it is, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's phenomenal. And of course, the airport lounges for me. I mean, I travel all over the world, but I did not rack up enough points and on my credit card or whatever to be in airport lounges. I'm just gonna be honest with you guys because I travel on a budget. Like I don't, and as a model too, I get sent to travel and work. So that's one thing that I love, like the airport lounge, like social media is gonna be on fire. Think of the yummy food. Like you get to the airport, like my dad always says, okay, get to the airport like way before. So it's ingrained in me to get there like sometimes 2 hours, 3 hours, and the
Yeah.
security line is short. And you're sitting by the gate for like 2 additional hours. If you're in the lounge, they got the big screens, they got yummy food, maybe a massage. You're talking to other entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
networking. My brother and his wife, that's the only way they travel because they go everywhere first class.
Uh-huh.
But, and he would always tell me about these airport lounges. And I'm like, okay, all right. So I think I manifested.
We got it, girl. We got it, girl. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah. And then the beauty for so I'll tell you one of the really big things that I just get lit up about is the whole piece of like a travel tribe, right? Like
Yeah,
how
that's
it's
it.
like we have this amazing community that we can choose to travel together now to different places, different, dream trips and experiences, and go here, go there, that we can even create our own. I'm lit up about that big time these days because I'm a retreat leader. Like I love to take people on retreats and, have these amazing experiences, and we can actually create our own through this company, which is just like, what? Like I can actually have you all do the hard work. I can say, I want this. And anyways, but the travel tribe, right? So I traveled a lot when I was younger. Then I became a mom, and I've traveled a little bit, spent several summers in Alaska, have had my trips to Hawaii, have had a couple trips to Mexico, but I haven't like really done a lot of travel like I did when I was young and modeling, right? And so part of that I have to like, just fess up to is part of it, like a little bit of an intimidation about going to different parts of the world as a single woman, right?
That's a big thing. I remember the first time I went to South Africa and I went by myself. My friends and my parents was like,
Yeah.
they were like, "Are you gonna be okay?" So you do second guess that, as you're saying.
Yeah. Yep. And the beautiful thing is here we have a whole travel tribe to go with if we want to, if there's a beautiful, the trips that I'm eyeing right now, there's one coming up in Kenya at some gorgeous eco resort this fall. There's a walking tour of Prague. There's all these things that I wouldn't necessarily do on my own. Hey, Macy. but you know, I wouldn't necessarily do it on my own, but now that I'm like, oh, like I have a whole community that I can do this with, or we can, you know, I can call up some of my favorite ladies on the team, like you, Trisha, or Macy, or Raji, and I can say, hey, girls, let's go on this trip together, and we can book it together. Everything's taken care of for us.
And it's single occupancy too, if you're not traveling with your husband or that cute mother.
Yeah, well, the discover trips are single occupancy, yeah, but the dream trips you book double occupancy, but you can book it single if you want. Yeah.
Oh, see, that's another thing, because that's always a little bothersome if you're traveling by yourself too, that you sometimes have to do the double occupancy thing, of course.
No, you always have the option of booking it for yourself. Definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my God. It was so good talking to you. I could talk to you forever.
I know.
Like, oh, Macy said we are doing it. Yes.
Are doing it.
Macy is she's a relationship coach, isn't she?
Yep. Love coach for single women over 40. I think I need to hire you, Macy. Help me.
and relationships and travel go together.
Yeah.
You know, especially like when you're dating and stuff like that too. I don't know. I feel like men just love women who are love the earth and the water, and they want to travel and all that. And then they're like, oh my God, I want to come with you. Like, you know, so and vice versa too. You know, so everybody just totally loves travel. So Renee, it was super great talking to you, and you dropped some gems here, you know, about the how to be a 7-figure earner, the untraditional way. And I feel something bubbling up in me. I want to ask you one last thing. Just you know, maybe I'm at my regular job, I'm at my computer, and I'm going 9 to 5, and I see all these people traveling, and I know that this travel is on my bucket list, and I want to make money. I want more freedom. I want more peace. What can you say to ladies? And ladies, do you have a little more time, Renee? I feel like
absolutely,
question too.
Yeah, I absolutely have more time. Let me just grab a sip of water.
Sure. What would you say to that individual?
I would,
because men go through this too.
I would say start with the dreaming and then take action. So here's a, you know, law of attraction, manifestation work, right? It's like, first, and particularly as women, like we gotta get in touch with our deepest dreams and desires. I say that our desires and those little wisps of dreams that come in there, those are our sparkly breadcrumbs from our soul, inviting us to really, you know, go deeper into what our truest heart and soul yearns to be in this world, right? We come here for reasons. We come here with gifts. We come here with things to experience and learn. That's that deeper hunger and desire and dreams about things. So start breathing life into that first, right? We definitely can get, you know, kind of cut off from that because we start limiting ourselves in our mind and saying, oh, I can't have that, or I can't have that, or who am I to think that I can travel the world? I have to have this job and provide, you know, this stable kind of thing or whatever, right? Like we all go through that. So first get into the dreaming and the yumminess of it and start envisioning it. Make vision boards and have the phone screen an image of where you dream to go and what you want to do. Start following and commenting and loving on people that are actually doing that, right? It can be tempting to be like a little jealous or, you know, have that little like competition thing. But instead of that, like wipe that all away and instead just like live vicariously through people and celebrate them traveling, and then have that nourish you. Create Pinterest boards of where all you want to go and see and do and be, and start feeling into like how that would feel to be free of the job that you don't like, or to have that freedom to go be rolling around on the beaches and, right? Like get into that sensual yum of actually living your dream life, and then take baby steps. So maybe it's not, you know, you leave your job today and you're, you know, struggling for the next 3 months while you're trying to figure it out, like baby steps, right? So So I'm a huge believer in multiple streams of income. I'm a huge believer in side hustles, side gigs, right? Like absolutely. I mean, we would love to travel the world with you all, so you can totally come and talk to Tricia about what we're doing for sure, because it's amazing. But find something that speaks to your soul and start doing it as a side hustle, right? Just fit it in 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 hours a week, but you got to treat it like a business. You got to treat it like a business. And,
Yes.
like if you treat something like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. But if you actually want to do something where it's like, okay, my goal, like, right. Like if you're at a job you don't like and you're going to be like, okay, I'm making whatever it is, 2, 3, 4,000 a month here. I need to make X amount of dollars to be able to leave this job or cut back my hours or whatever, and actually create a strategy and a plan and map it out, and then treat your entrepreneurial path as important, if not more important than your job, because your job is working for somebody else's dreams. Your entrepreneurial path is working for your own dreams. Do you want to be building your own dreams? Or do you want to be building somebody else's dreams? Right. And for a while,
Wait. That's a ding, 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 ding right there.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. You want to be working for your own dreams. You want to be working for your own retirement. You want to be working to like set up your own nest egg. Right. And a lot of jobs, it's like there's those ceilings. You can only move up so far. You're actually like in a system of working for somebody else's dreams instead of your own. Right. So work for your own dreams. And even if that means like, 3 months, 6 months, you're doing both, or maybe you're doing multiple things, right? Again, multiple streams of income. It's awesome. You can get really creative. I think the more creative and entrepreneurial like we can get, and just think outside of the box and do mindset work too. There's, so many great books and things that you can be reading.
That's why it's so important to have a coach.
Yes. Right? And absolutely have a coach. Yes.
Who has done this.
Yep.
Already a coach who is living your dream and who is an expert in this stuff, because if not, you keep going around in circles,
right?
Which had happened to me when I started, when I reached a certain point in modding. Like I felt like I kept on going around in circles. So I needed like direction from, coaches who were, just living this 7-figure dream and just having the freedom and the stuff that I've manifested and learned. And of course, me becoming a coach too, it's just a whole, like, because I know, like on my vision board, I always tell my ladies in my program, let's visualize. I know one person here, a lady, what's her name? Lady Andrea, she was saying, you're funny. While you were talking, I'm visualizing. I know. Visualize. Because, I go back and forth from New York to Florida, and I always visualize being on a yacht and all this stuff. You guys come to Florida, and like I'm on the yacht. Wait, you guys invite me on the yacht. I'm like, oh my God, this is like crazy. Like I totally manifested this. Like, yeah, you did. Yacht. And it's not only just being on the yacht. God sent me amazing people to connect with. People who love to dance. I love to dance. So we love yummy food. We just, love all this entrepreneurship. It was like a win-win situation, right? It was so fun. I literally walked across the street and jumped on the yacht. Like who?
and don't forget the part that it had been sold out for about 3 weeks. Right? So like that was some serious manifestation powers, girl. You the queen. Yeah. I loved it. It was so much fun. Oh my God. You might have to share with your audience some of the dancing videos.
Oh, I'll probably
put some up later. Put some up of us dancing. That was so fun. And you and Raji and yeah.
Oh my God. So multiple streams of income, ladies. Yep.
Yeah.
They're saying visualizing too, and multiple streams of income. One last question before you go, because I feel like I could talk to you forever. But on the multiple streams of income, how do you, because I have some women too who come to me, and this is one of the things that they always say, I tend to get into too many things, or I am in fear of people judging me like, okay, you're a teacher, now you're a makeup artist, now you are trying to sing. Like, how do you just like get rid of the naysayers, be in your body and do what you have to do?
Yeah, well, you're always going to have naysayers. So don't let them steal your dreams. I mean, that's like, you're going to have the naysayers about this, that, or the other things. You just always have to be solid in your soul and in your heart and your mission and who you are, and not let that affect you, right? Because they're always going to be there. And then, I mean, one of the things that I like to always remind myself, and then it may be some naysayers that are like, well, you're doing multiple things. I'm like, yeah, like, I mean, right. This year I'm earning money from my Revolutionary Radiance, my coaching world, my network marketing business, and the modeling world, right? Those right now are my 3 streams of income, and I love it, right? And they're all very much on brand for me, right? So that would maybe be one of the things, is like, make sure that they're all authentic for you, right? Because then it's like, you're just being this role model of how to live your best life, how to live out your dreams. And, I love the idea of somebody, like, if somebody wants to be a teacher, a makeup artist, and a singer, and those are all passions, why the heck not? Like, why not? Right? Throw photography in there, throw whatever, right? So the thing that I like to remind people is the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. It's just, that's average. Yeah. The average. Yep. The 7-figure earners, millionaires. Yeah. Millionaires have on average 7 streams of income. So some have more, some have less, but average is 7 streams, which that's a big number. So in my mind now, I would imagine a lot of, like, some of those are probably like their investments, or they're in real estate at that point.
Like automated, right?
Like, yeah, things that get automated, things that get right. So for me, I'm pretty happy at the sweet spot of 3. Like, that's good. Like, doing those 3, maybe in the future there'll be like investments and things that becomes a stream of income, right? So I like to remind people that, because most people don't know that, right? Most people don't know that on average millionaires have 7 streams of income, and they figure out how to do it. They know how to manage it. They know how to run it. Whereas most people, generally it's 1. I mean, sometimes people have a second job, or, a side thing, but yeah, it's a good thing to just be aware of like, oh, like, and it's also just about changing, the entrepreneurial path, I think is asks us to really like question kind of like what's normal, or what our society teaches as normal. I mean, sadly, society teaches us to, go to school, like go to college, do a traditional job. It doesn't necessarily prepare young people for a more entrepreneurial path. And I think I love that, the last 10, 15 years of having internet, like, pick out something you're passionate about and go follow somebody on YouTube that is doing it, right? Go find someone that could be a mentor or a teacher for you. Go find a program that teaches you how to do that, right? Go, like, I'm in a health coaching program right now, even though I've been doing health coaching for years and years and years. There was an additional kind of area that I felt like I wanted to study further. And so I'm actually in a primal health coaching program for the year. Like, like, find something that really feeds your soul, that you're excited about, that can be that long-term, cultivating those skills and those understandings. Network marketing, I love, because the entry point is accessible for anybody. I believe it's a, real, it evens the playing field, right? Like, not everybody has the ability to go to school for 8 years and spend $200,000 to become a doctor, or has $100,000 to buy a franchise, or, has the $10,000-$15,000 to take a coaching certification program. But pretty much everybody can join a network marketing business for, generally enrollment, it's like usually around like 1,000, 1,500, depending on what company, right? Like,
that's such an amazing opportunity.
I mean, so doable.
Like, just a grand, like, and you could make 10,000, $1 million. You can make so much money. It's ridiculous. This is why, as an immigrant, I was not born in America. Coming from Jamaica, coming from a lot of different countries all over the world. This is why this is one of the greatest countries in the world. I mean, all of these millionaires and stuff like that. Now you could be a millionaire anywhere while we're traveling and all of that, but it's just phenomenal, the opportunity. And this type of stuff is an amazing opportunity. It really, really is.
Yeah. I mean, just more and more wake up every day being like, what do I want? Like, what's really, what lights me up, what brings me joy, what makes my heart sing, what makes me happy to get out of bed every day? What are you dreaming of? Go after that. Find the ways to create it. Find the ways to fund your dreams. Find the ways to have the community you desire and the freedom you desire and the fun that you desire and see the world and all that, right? Yeah,
Yes.
Macy says so much personal development and high level coaching. This is priceless. Yeah. Well, and that's one of the other beautiful things about our business is you can have such incredible mentorship and coaching and it's all part of being part of a team. So
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Like free coaching. Yeah.
Inspiration all around empowerment.
Yes.
Right. So I was saying that on our title, want to feel pumped up and empowered. Like,
Yes. Yes.
So guys, I am gonna let Miss Renee
I
go.
love it.
So much for joining. It was awesome. If
Thank you, honey.
You gotta replay. I will put it up right away that you guys can get all these gems and all this lusciousness here and juiciness and all of that, right? Hey, Lori.
Hey, Lori. Hi, sweetheart. Hi, beautiful.
She's such a sweetheart too. Oh my God. I met her on the yacht party too. Her and her husband. Lovely. Oh my God. I want to talk about how do you do this with all your kids? That's got to be part two because you're a mom.
Oh, yeah. Let's definitely do a part two because I think that's a really to me, it's like you can world school, you can take your kids around, you can do both, you can write, but let's do a part two. I would love to do a part two. There's so much more to like unpack in the conversation.
Oh my God. I can talk for hours. Days and days. Thank you guys, Mace.
Thank you so much, honey.
Oh my God. Lady Asia. Oh, thank you guys for coming on and just chit-chatting. Sarita. Oh my God. We got so much gems. Thank you. All right. Bye, guys. Replay. Bye.
Thanks, Bye.
Bye.
Bye.